I think there's no doubt that the socio-economic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic have been severe, exposing existing vulnerabilities and really exacerbating inequalities.
I think the debates are just beginning. I'm not at all convinced that we have a clearly identified program of recovery. The more dangerous thing, I think, looking forward is that the trajectory of recovery is so uneven. The richer countries, the more advanced economies bouncing back really remarkably quickly and with the resources to boost that recovery. The same is not true in the developing world. So the problem is, I think, that this increase of inequality is not just a blip on the screen in the course of the pandemic, but something that could be with us for some time going forward.
People have realized now that you can't have healthy people on an unhealthy planet. I think more people are starting to see the relationships between biodiversity, human health, the economy, climate change, inequality, with the tragic death of George Floyd, the racial overtone. So the awareness have definitely come up, but where I agree strongly with Guy is where, although we see some bright lights, we are still long on words and short on action. I don't think people fully realize the speed and scale that we need in terms of our economic transition, and that promises for 2050 are theoretically fine, but it's actions between now and 2030 that count. I mean, this is a major change that needs to happen in the global economy beyond what we've ever seen before.
We don't know how we can last this, especially small businesses who lost their opportunity to create wealth or create money for their family. So it's really, how long can we do our innovation if the prolonged lockdown and COVID situation are here?
The option is we learn something from this crisis and say, look, this level of pre-existing social protection was entirely unsatisfactory. And if we're serious about preparing for the next crisis and building resilience into our labour markets and our societies, we really do have to take the challenge of providing universal social protection seriously.
We've always talked about the 800 million people that go to bed hungry every day, not knowing if they wake up the next day, the 4.5 billion people that live on less than $5 a day still. So the 2 billion informal workers that are now being exposed, the racial dimensions that come to us. So I think this has been drinking from a fire hose for many of the business leaders, and an awareness that is certainly at a higher level now than it was before. I remember a guy coming to the World Economic Forum at the International Business Council, where all the CEOs were sitting about 5 or 6 years ago, and actually having the same story. I think many of them were listening, a certain level of empathy, but then they walked out and little happened. And this is what we're paying the price for.
So it's the totality of what's around us. So peace is not just absence of conflict. So I will experience peace if I can put food on the table, if I can send my children to school, if I can have proper health care, if I can live in a secure place.
And I emphasize on this historical social dialogue because it has built up trust, in the society between employer confederations and employee confederations and the government. And you cannot use that trust during a crisis unless you have built it up during non-crisis.
But looking forward, I think we have to make a clear distinction between what we should properly expect of governments, the state. And my argument here is that we certainly have to understand that when it comes back to the issues of protection, be it against unemployment, be it against health risks, the primary responsibility lies with the state. We do need comprehensive welfare systems. The role of the private sector there, I have to say, and it's something we might wish to come on to, is to pay taxes at a level which enables the state to operate and have the tax take, which enables welfare states to operate appropriately.